Hello everyone, Bob here, and welcome to the Voice of the Movies. For this next month, I am going to break my mold and focus on one franchise, and it is also the franchise that I'm covering the individual movies for. It is the Halloween franchise. In this episode, I'm going to show you Mondo's box, as well as the individual fronts of all the albums. However, the album I am going to review in this one is 5. Now, you might ask, why am I going to do it this way? Well, if you think back to when this box set came out, they were released in reverse order. So I'm going to follow that. Plus, I've timed this to where this week I'll do 5, next week I'll do 4, and I'll work my way down. And that way, on Saturday, October 31st, I'm reviewing the original Halloween soundtrack. But here is the cover to Halloween 1. Halloween 2. Season of the Witch. Halloween 4. And, of course, the one we're going to talk about in this episode, Halloween 5. First, I'm going to show you the slipcase that the individual albums go in. You'll notice the Myers house with a ghostly shape, and in front of him is young Jamie Lloyd from Halloween's 4 and 5. And, of course, this pose is from the cliffhanger ending from Halloween 4. We turn it sideways, and this is the open end that everything goes in. As you can see, the cardboard is fairly thick. It is a very well made sleeve. It isn't thin or flimsy like the John Carpenter's thing in Lost Cues is. The opposite side has the Myers house with the shape standing in the foreground and a ghostly image of young Michael in front of him, and notice the lit jack-o'-lantern back there. And you turn it sideways, you have says Death Waltz Recording Company presents, then Halloween original soundtrack collection, and we have the Death Waltz emblem as well as the melted jack-o'-lantern from Halloween 3. And like I said, this episode is going to focus on Halloween 5. I'm going to cover them in reverse order, just like they came with the box set, because you bought the slip box, and they came with Halloween 4 and 5, and then you had to buy 3, 2, and 1 separately. So I'm going to start with 5 and work my way backwards. Here's the Obi. Halloween 5. Alan Howarth, of course, did the music for this one. Talks about it being remastered from the original tapes. Flip it over. There's that. Then there's the spine itself. Okay, the front cover is Michael working his hand and make the thorn tattoo stand out on his wrist. Open the gatefold up. See, there's Michael in the trees. This is right after the Tower Farm murders, and Michael's chased Jamie through the through where all the Christmas trees are. But it's a nice spooky artwork there. Flip it one more time. We get a drawing of Michael when he's committing some of the murders on the Tower Farm. There's the track listing. Here are the liner notes. It's got the thorn emblem up there at the top. And of course, at the time this was made, the Halloween 5 was made in 1989. No one knew what that symbol meant. Well, I mean, originally it was just a symbol that the Doctor, quote unquote, Doctor Death character threw on there, but that got cut out when they decided to change the opening. So the whole Thorn thing didn't come along till Halloween 6, I guess is the better way to say that. And as you can see, I have the orange variant of this. Flip it over. Oh, there is the opposite side. Now in this review, I'm going to do something I don't typically do. I'm going to talk about a CD release of the same album because it is a little different. This is the limited edition expanded original motion picture soundtrack from 2013. So we'll take a look at that, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the album. There's the front. Yes, my jewel case is cracked, but that isn't the end of the world. That can be fixed. There it is when you open it up. Pop it off. There's Michael. Slide the paper out here. It folds out. You get some liner notes as well as some stills from the movie. Behind the scenes stuff and production stills and stuff like that. There's Alan Howarth, the composer for this film. And then the back of the album. As you can see, the songs, the difference is this has the 2013 mixes, and it also has the original 1989 mixes as well on this particular edition. I think the first thing I want to point out is there is a track on this LP that is not on this limited expanded edition. And it is track 2 on side A of this. It is called Haddonfield Nights. It's 1 minute 53 seconds. It isn't that long or that groundbreaking of a track. But it's not on this one at all. It is, if you've seen the movie, it is when it cuts forward a year right after Michael collapses in the hermit's hut, and Jamie is in the children's hospital 1 year later, and but it's right before Michael comes to. It's kind of that creepy atmospheric thing. So that is on this, but not this. So I wanted to point that out so everyone was aware of that up front. But as for the rest of this soundtrack itself, I want to talk primarily about this one. This track, of course, it's being a Halloween, it uses a derivative of John Carpenter's original music for quite a bit of it, whether it's the main theme or the Laurie's theme or any of the other themes that Carpenter used throughout the original. This one has some iteration of them. The atmospheric segments on from Halloween 5 are not as effective as what was in Halloween 4. There is some music that is recycled over from Halloween 4. But again, it's Alan Howarth did both films, Halloween 4 and 5. Some of it is borrowed over and directly moved over, kind of like how in Friday the 13th Part 7 recycled some of the music from Friday the 13th Part 6. It's the same idea, to be the exact same cues. There's a couple of them that are changed slightly, but they are pretty much, for the most part, the same thing. Like I say, the highlight is, of course, when Carpenter's theme appears. The atmospheric parts of this one, while they do have a very distinct sound, and they aren't quite as effective as the atmospheric music from Part 4. That is one reason why I am going to review all 5 of these albums so close together. I feel each film has its own character to it, its own voice, hence, voice of the movies. But Halloween 3 has a way different voice from the rest of them. But I feel that this one, I mean, I hate to call it the weakest of the bunch, but out of the first 5 films, it is definitely the weakest score. Halloween 4, like I said, some of the cues that worked in Halloween 4, they don't work quite as well here. Of course, part of my biggest problem with this, and some of it doesn't have anything to do with Howard's work itself. He's trying to match what happens on the screen. I don't want to hear a comedy cop routine in my Halloween music. Like I say, that had to do with the director's decision to have a comic relief cop partners in this film. And if you watch the documentaries on the Scream Factory box set, you'll see that Alan Howarth wasn't happy about putting those in there either, and I don't blame him. But again, like I say, the strength is where he builds off of Carpenter's original. There's a track called Stranger Things, and it takes place, if you've seen the movie, it's when Jamie looks outside and she sees Michael wandering around outside the children's hospital, and she thinks he's chasing her, but when in fact the person chasing her in the building is actually not a mechanic, but like a janitor, a custodian, someone that works there as like a groundskeeper, has the overalls and stuff on, and it is kind of it's a very unique take on how the Halloween theme sounds. Another thing that happens in this in Halloween 5 that doesn't necessarily fit is, and I'm not talking about, of course, the song Romeo Romeo that is in the movie is not on this LP or this for that matter, but there is an attempt to almost give it kind of a definite 80s off style, and that, to me, it just doesn't fit with the rest of the Halloween franchise. But another track that is good is the Trapped in the Shaft. You definitely feel the tension if you know what's going. If you've seen the movie, and I will review the movie here in the coming weeks, when Jamie is in the air duct and Michael's stabbing through it, and you feel the tension. And Alan Howarth does a wonderful job of just building the tension and making you almost cringe even if you're not watching the movie. If you're just listening to the soundtrack, it almost makes you cringe just listening to it. And I don't mean it because it's sharp noises and stuff. It's just he was masterfully done. But like I say, the stuff in this one that works, it's the recycling of Carpenter's theme. Again, nothing against Howarth. He did a marvelous job with Part 4, and with what work he collaborated with Carpenter on some of the earlier films in the franchise. But this one, I think he was handcuffed by what Dominique Othen-Gerard was trying to let him do. He was kind of handcuffed, and there wasn't a lot he could do with it. And then as for this CD, like I say, the big difference is that it has the 2013 mixes versus the original 1989 mixes. And if you go to listen to, if you have like Amazon Music and you go to listen to soundtrack on there, you're basically hearing this CD. And the music, it's pretty much the tracks when it repeats itself over here, because it's pretty well the same. There's just very minor differences to it. But I wanted to point out that this is the 2013 mixes are how they appear, or that 2013, the 1989 mixes are how they appear in the movie. And then these are just updated versions. They're pretty similar to what's in the movie. They're it's like they're re-recorded and they've been tweaked a little bit, but they're fun to listen to. Don't get me wrong, but I'll always stick with wanting to listen to the original versions. But that's all I've got for this video. I will give the Halloween 5 soundtrack. I want to give this one a B-. Howarth really tried, but he was handcuffed significantly by Dominico Thin and Gerard. If you watch any of the documentaries or anything where they talk to Howarth on this, he wasn't happy with a lot of the direction and stuff that he was given to work with. So it's easy to understand why this one is significantly weaker than its predecessor, which I will talk about next Saturday on next week's episode of Voice of the Movies. That's right, Halloween 4 will be the next episode that I talk about. That's all I've got for this video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content of this video, please give it a like, and please consider subscribing to this channel. I try to have new content daily. It doesn't always work that way, but that is my goal. Follow me on Facebook or Twitter. Just search for Bob the Film Guy. And for now, stay safe, everyone. This is Bob, signing off.